Hey guys, welcome back to Fast Dad Garage. Today we're going to be jumping on patches. This is our slant nose cj3b, and we're going to be working hard on it because we're going to plan to take this on our next Jeep trip. Now you may have seen, usually in the spring we like to do a camping trip / Jeep run because the weather's just so good. There's not many bugs, the nights are cooler, so you can really enjoy a campfire. So got a lot of stuff to do to get this thing done and ready. So let me show you what we got to do.
Today, it's going to be out with the old, in with the new. Yep, we're going to update our charging system. This was all 6-volt stuff. We're going to 12 volts. We're going to put an alternator on. So let's get in, get patches charged up. Let's just, for fun, see what the difference in weight is. So here's the old charging system. Figured to put the whole thing on there. 24.4 pounds. All right, and how about now our alternator? That comes in at 10.9, so we'll call it 11, so about 13 pounds that we're going to save. Cutting the weight in half, not bad. I'm going to go ahead and put on a double pulley. Just gives me a little more options. An impact makes real quick work of that. I actually just kind of picked up on it and tapped it a little bit, and the pulley came off. So there is a spacer behind it, and we will put that, this one I don't think we'll need the spacer with. Yep, that makes pretty good contact. And we'll just, ooh, it's gonna be close. Let's see if it'll go back on okay. All right, that is all set to go. So here is our original generator mount. Usually you have to get rid of those and replace them with something like that. This happened to be on another old Jeep engine that I had. It's been a little bit bent, as you can see, but we'll see whether or not that kind of lines up with our new alternator. Okay, I just used a couple of big crescent wrenches, as you can see, real big, and kind of tweaked that bracket to get it sort of bent back to where it needed to be. You can see I need to make just a little adjustment on the end, but back here it's nice and straight. And if you look at the line of our pulleys, our pulley line looks pretty good. So that's roughly where it's got to sit. So down here, this is where we can either go simple or we can go real complicated with a bracket. There we go. And we're gonna go real simple if we can. All right, you can see the alternator, how it kind of sits there, right there, that big hole, that's where the bushing for the generator was. So that is about 3/4 of an inch, that little gap. So that kind of gives us an idea of what we need to do to start making this simple bracket. Here it is, the simple bracket. So 2 of the bolts go into pre-existing holes down there. I went with a little bit thicker shim than what I was going to offset that just a little bit more. So let's go ahead, we'll get this thing mounted up, and then you can see kind of how it's gonna work. So there's our bracket in. Had to put a couple of bigger washers to cover that bushing hole, but that way I didn't have to re-drill another hole in the bell or in the engine mount. And then you can kind of see it there. And should just be able to put a bolt in. All right, I feel as though that belt line is pretty good. It seems like it's running pretty nice and straight. So we're gonna go ahead, get everything tightened up and jump onto the wiring, get that finalized, and then it'll be time to test it. All right, we are buttoned up and done. So this wire was the wire that comes from the amp gauge and went to the voltage regulator, or vice versa. You could say it went actually from the voltage regulator to the amp gauge and then back down to our connection, which hooks into our battery. So everything should be hooked up. Everything's nice and tight. We should have a good ground through our bracket. I think it's time to fire it up and see how that belt tracks. See if we get anything on our amp gauge. So the charging system works. I just took it for a drive and everything worked really well. No problems at all. Nothing got hot. The only problem is I got a little rattle in this engine. I don't want to blow this engine up, so I'm not going to keep running it. It's going to have to be rebuilt, but it doesn't overheat. It still fires up good. So that means if this is going in May, I've got to pull the engine out and put another one in. Hey guys, sorry, I got no time to talk. I got to get this engine out. Thanks for watching. Check back soon. We'll be putting it back in.